Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Handmaid's Tale, Season 4, Episode 7. This episode, it really dived into June's life in Canada, which, on the surface, you sort of see, okay, here's the nice grocery store. Here's
that has a bunch of food in it. I mean, look at the comparison for the Gilead grocery store. It's really like you can have this loaf of bread, and it is the only loaf of bread that exists.
It reminds me a lot of, here's a very weird reference that I don't know, like 1% of people will get, but there was this classic old Calvin and Hobbes comic strip where Calvin's dad goes to the grocery store and he's like, do I get crunchy? Is crunchy enough? Or what about extra crunchy? Like, how do I decide? Like, that was June in this episode.
Yeah.
This was also very emotional, though. There's a lot going on here with her mental state, understandably.
Yeah, it was an episode that needed to happen, that now that she is in Canada, to really understand where her hurt is, where her anger is, where her frustration is, how broken she is inside, and to sort of try to find ways to get past it, even if it's small steps.
We're going to, of course, dive into all of this, but before we do, why not hit that subscribe button? Because, we're still here doing everything with The Handmaid's Tale. We are closing in on 50,000 subscribers.
We are really close, guys, so help us out. Let's hit that milestone together. Hit that subscribe button.
And also check out our Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. We've got some fun stuff going on over there. Thankfully, it's a much more pleasant place than pretty much anywhere in The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, we saw a gecko the other day in our backyard, which was really cool.
Yeah, we celebrate the little things here.
Who we have named Mr. Gecko after Mr. Echo from Lost, my favorite show.
I know, we've just been blessed with so much good TV.
I know.
And Handmaid's Tale, it's still going strong. I still don't know where, in the world things are gonna escalate right now with June.
Yeah, I am still having some of the same problems that I've been having with this season, which is now that June is in Canada, Canada has felt like the place that characters go to disappear. That once they're there, then it doesn't matter anymore. Right now we have everybody up there, except for people like Aunt Lydia, but everything with Gilead just didn't exist in this episode. We had some flashbacks, but we don't see anything from what is going on in there.
And, that does obviously pose challenges where it's sort of like, okay, how do you make a world that is, quote-unquote idyllic actually feel like there is drama and stakes? It's sort of like the, before the big twist at the end of Season 1, like, how does The Good Place end up being dramatic when everything is good and better all the time? This episode, though, I think the real struggle is obviously within June's own head. It's how do you overcome years of trauma?
Yeah, and I mean, they're trying to give her all the resources. I mean, they start by putting her up at the Royal York. And if you've never been to Toronto, the Royal York is a decades-long landmark there. It's right downtown, close to the lakeshore. It is a very prestigious hotel.
And, on the surface,
it was good to see.
Yeah, it's like I've lived in Toronto, but you're the Toronto expert more than me.
Yeah, I'm from Toronto. I grew up in Toronto. I mean, the Royal York's been around as long as I've been alive, so at least 46 years, but much longer than that.
And, it was kind of just interesting sort of seeing her in these pristine environments, trying to, get her brain just, slowly accustomed to where she is. And, she's questioning, do I deserve this? Do any of us deserve this? That was a conversation topic.
Yeah, seeing her sitting down with Emily and Rita and Moira and sort of having this conversation of what happened to us, then what happened in Gilead, and now we're here. Do we deserve to be here after the things that we did and felt that we had to do in Gilead to be able to get here? And the overwhelming consensus is, yes, we all deserve to be here. This should have never happened to any of us in the first place. This wasn't our choice, the things that happened to us. And sometimes you do have to do what you got to do to get out of it. The biggest interesting thing out of that conversation is June finding out that Serena is pregnant, that it is Fred's, and that basically you could see in her face where she was kind of like, so I didn't have to go through any of this. They were fully capable of having children on their own. is just it's such a devastating thing. And I mean, they didn't talk about it in this episode, but I'm sure it's crossed her mind that if Fred was capable of getting Serena pregnant, then is her baby Nick's or Fred's?
I think it's got to go into her mind. I don't know if they're going to explore that at all moving into the rest of this season, but it is a big revelation, and it's something after everything June has already gone through already. I think knowing this is sort of just the tipping point for her and being like, okay, I gotta go see Serena, because I think this is kind of the pinnacle of the drama in this episode.
Yeah, this feels like the rest of this season is really gonna be June against the Waterfords, which is something that we all want to see. I mean,
yes.
That scene with how angry June is at Serena was done so well. The writing was so good. It went to some of the darkest places, which is completely understandable with all the dark places that Serena put June in. And I'm not letting Fred off the hook. Fred has done some terrible things, but the things that Serena has done to June, I mean, it's gotta hurt in a very deeper, darker way, because Serena is another woman doing these things to June.
Serena has sort of been constructed as like the ultimate villain within the Handmaid's Tale world, and that's not
She's terrible.
Oh, she is horrible. Like, you know, I come on here a lot and I say Fred is the worst, that I hate Fred, and one of the biggest reasons for my hatred of Fred, despite the fact that he has done some pretty just awful things, he's just kind of boring. It's like, I don't care whenever Fred, like, they had that whole scene with Fred and Serena. Just like, can we speed this along? Serena is horrible, but I mean, the drama around her is compelling, and it does make you feel something. Like, seeing June get back at Serena, most powerful scene in this episode. Perfect just comeuppance for someone like Serena.
I don't know what Serena was thinking was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, saying, I'm sorry, I'm here for forgiveness. Like, what did she think that June was going to say? Like, did she ever think that June is really going to come around with the things that Serena has done to her? It's just, some things are just not forgivable. And I know that I'm sure there are people out there that feel that everything can be forgivable and move on. I don't agree with this particular situation. I think that June is unable and unwilling to move forward with that.
And how can she? Like, that's the other part of this. I mean, I'll try to map out at least my perception of Serena's psyche and how she acts in all of this, is that we have seen that she is so manipulative and so controlling and so willing to sort of sway people however she can to get what she wants. I don't know if she actually thought that her whole, you know, I'm so glad to see you, I need forgiveness, I don't know if she knew all that was going to work, or if it's just like, hey, this has worked every other time of my life, so why not try it again?
I think she's just really desperate, because I think there's obviously a part of her, we saw her in the chapel praying to God and saying that she understands that the things that she's done are, you know, unforgivable and just awful, and that she really wants to find a way, now that she's pregnant, everything's gonna go better, that she needs to get herself redeemed from the horrific things that she has done to June. And in general, in Gilead, the things that she has done have been horrible. So I think she just is so desperate, like June said, to have herself chase that feeling of maybe she can be a good person, maybe she can be redeemable, but she's not really willing to do anything to be redeemed for. She's not really sorry of what she did to June. She just doesn't want to be judged by God for what she did to June. She doesn't want her bad actions of what she did to June to affect her baby. So she's not actually sorry. And that's really why I think this situation for June is unforgivable, because she's just not actually sorry for what she's done.
I believe zero of what Serena said. And the biggest reason why is she is locked up. Like, she is in a position where she is not getting anything she wants. She's vulnerable. Like you said, she's desperate because of her pregnancy.
Yeah, we even saw her go to Fred, and we've seen her over the past couple episodes just say to him, no, 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 I'm not helping you, I'm not helping you. When things didn't work out with June, what's the next angle Serena's going to play? Fred.
Let's just, if we were to just pluck Serena out of here and we just throw her back in Gilead, would she be acting like this at all if she was still pregnant? And the answer to me is no. I think it is a product of circumstance. That's just my opinion. I don't see herself asking for forgiveness if she's not being locked away somewhere.
No, she was in a position of privilege and power out there, and that's why she was okay to hold down June while her husband did what he did, and that she did what she did. This is why Serena is one of TV's best villains. And yeah, I'll put that out there.
Yeah.
TV's best villains, not just this show. She is not only so manipulative, but she is very malleable of wherever she is, she knows how to move into that position to be able to manipulate whatever she wants.
All right, so the June and Serena scene was powerful and really well done, but I will admit my favorite scene of the whole episode is everything at the grocery store. Like I loved how this was shot. I loved that it was sort of put together. I do love June and the potato chips. On the surface, so much of it was I've never gotten to choose before. Like, this is interesting and exciting, and then it takes this just terrible turn where, and I think we could have saw this coming, everything June looks at is a reminder of Gilead in some way.
Yeah, I mean, the grocery store was an important scene as well, because it really is June having to face her new reality, which is she's in Canada, she's in a grocery store that's colorful, filled with vegetables, everything is different here, that she has choice, that she has freedom, that other women there have freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom. We saw freedom of religion, freedom of choice of partner, freedom to just be their own, mom to their kid. Like, everything was so overwhelming for her. It was very well done.
Yeah, all those choices, like every single woman they put in that store, and you just expelled them all out. Like, they were all deliberately picked, and they were so careful and meticulous, and I appreciate all the details there. But we have to talk about the end of this episode, because I think there's going to be a lot of reactions to everything with June and Luke.
Yeah, okay, so I think we all were buckled up for this, that this was going to be very hard on June, very hard on Luke. Luke doesn't know what to do or how to act. We saw at the beginning he was asking June for forgiveness, that he's been trying what he can from Canada to try to find Hannah, to try to get her out, but as we know, whoever goes to Canada is just kind of like lost in the ether. Yeah. You can't really do much from there. It's very difficult. So he's harboring guilt as well, that he's piled on himself for not being able to do enough and not being able to get her back. That scene where June sort of hides that Hannah is now scared of her and just explains the first meeting with her was really powerful. It was a really good scene. I mean, Luke's expressions and just how he was having some, oh, she was angry. Yep, that sounds like her. It was really heartbreaking, but also a little bit of joy there that he just got an update.
Yeah, and I think he's been longing for that update for so long that, June, because she cares about him, she didn't want to sort of then loop on this other trauma that she's dealing with. I don't know if she'll bring that up to him at some point or not, but she wanted him to have this moment, clearly.
Okay, so now we got to get into the harder part of it. So obviously we had this scene, all the stuff with June. We saw her in the grocery store. We saw her confronting Serena about the things that she did and her participation in what happened to her with Fred. That this is something that is very clearly going to take some time to get through. Yeah. Then we also had seen her with Luke. They started kissing. It started getting a little further. And then she was just like, nope, can't. Yeah. After seeing Serena, she has decided for herself, she's come home, she wants to be with Luke, and it needs to be on her terms. It is something that it feels like she needs to take control of her own sexuality, her own self, to be able to move forward and get to that next step.
where things get tough as a viewer to watch, obviously, is where Luke says wait, and eventually June covers his mouth and then just continues. And I'm not going to lie, I was incredibly uncomfortable watching this, but let's also say this is not the first time I have been incredibly uncomfortable watching The Handmaid's Tale. This is a show, I think, designed to make us feel uncomfortable at times because it's a world where a lot of just really horrible things happen. But I think it's also important to sort of draw a line between some of those horrible things in the past and what's happening here with June and Luke in the present, that, despite Luke's initial objective, he recognizes throughout all of this there is a deeper purpose and there is a deeper meaning beyond what's going on in this scene.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that there is a strength unbalance between June and Luke. If Luke really was going to say, wait, no, it has to stop, if he wanted to throw June into a wall, he could. He never would. That is not their relationship. I think Luke felt it was going too fast. I think he was worried that this was going to end up being something that would hurt their relationship, or because earlier she needed to stop. He is concerned. So I understand him being like, wait, let's have a talk, when he realized that this is something that June needed to work through herself with his help. He allowed this to happen the way that it needed to. And we saw sort of this little glimpse afterwards where they're out in the snow together with Nicole and the snowman, and she's smiling and he's smiling, that this is something that has helped her.
It's allowed her to have some control, and I think she needs control. So much of this show has been about a lack of control that she's had throughout her whole time in Gilead. So I think that Luke, sort of what you said, in that he recognizes what's going on during this. When he was initially like, wait, he was probably just like, wait, are you sure? I don't want to be the one to have rushed you because of what happened earlier.
Yes.
Maybe he's worried that she's feeling insecure about something, but he allows it to continue. I think he sort of understands at some point during this process. I wonder where their relationship is going to go from here. Yeah, it seemed like they were happy at the end of this. I think they'll probably continue to be happy, but June's future strategy towards Gilead, is Luke going to be on the same page? Is he going to be just want to celebrate being around her when she may be kind of gung-ho towards this next goal?
I mean, I think he's going to probably need a balance of it. He's going to want to obviously enjoy his life with June.
Yeah.
But I think we saw that scene at the beginning where it seems like he is holding resentment towards himself, guilt on himself. He knows their daughter is still there. He's still motivated to fight as well. Yes. I think the bigger question is if everyone is in Canada right now, the rest of this season, we only have a couple episodes left, is really, I think, going to circle around sort of that last scene where we see June talking to Canadian government, being like, Serena is the one. This is the person that needs to be punished. This is what she's done. I am an expert witness in this. I am firsthand witness in what these people have done to me and what they've done in Gilead, so I can help you take them down. So if Fred and Serena are taken down by the end of the season and everybody's in Canada, what is next season looking like? Because one of the things I started watching the show for was sort of this peek into this Gilead world and what has happened and why it is so horrific. And now that everyone is safe, or a lot of people are safe, what is left?
I think it's maybe a situation where, and I'm trying to come up with a perfect analogy and none of them are really working, but Serena is sort of the head of the snake here. And if you get rid of Serena and you get rid of Fred and sort of say, okay, they're off, they're gone, this Gilead society, it's still going to remain, but there's not sort of these two big bads, especially Serena sort of lording over everything. So I could see season 5 being like, okay, we got rid of sort of the King Cobra.
Yeah, now in June's life.
Yeah, now can we use this to try to find a way to get rid of the rest of the society? And maybe this is sort of a jumping off point to that.
Yeah, I've been thinking that because June is this expert witness and she has so much information, including how the Marthas are able to get kids out or help people, and that there is sort of that society. She is sharing as much information as she actually has with that type of stuff, that maybe she will become someone very important in the Canadian government in helping change Gilead, take down Gilead, bring her country back. That was one of the things that she was really angry at Serena about as well, where she was just kind of like, you took everything away from me. You participated in taking my country away from me. Like, all of it.
I'm so happy that this is not the last season, because it's only, at least we have comfort in knowing there's time to build on a lot of this.
Handmaid's Tale and comfort, 2 words that do not go together.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, what do you guys think about season 4, episode 7? What scene stood out to you the most? Let us know. And if you guys did like this video, hit that subscribe button and support us as well by checking those links to the store alongside our Patreon. And we will see you here next time.